I just had a nerve assessment done. uh, Long story short, around the end of October, start of November, I started to get like a weird pain in the back of my left shoulder. And then it sort of translated down my arm. And then eventually I started to get pins and needles through my thumb and my forefinger and my middle finger. And then I basically lost all of the feeling in the top of my forearm. And that wasn't good. And at the same time, I started getting really bad tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to pronounce that, in my left ear. And then maybe a month later, it started down my left hip and left leg, and then my basically I had pins and needles in this hand and in my left foot. Oh, for quite a while. So went to the doctor, right? Probably what you should do when something wonky is happening. And she did a neurological test on me, and no problems there. So she sent me for a bunch of tests. She sent me for a hearing test, and she sent me to get nerve testing done and X-rays. So X-rays were the first thing I got done, and X-rays came back that I have cervical foraminal stenosis. What the hell does that even mean? Basically, my neck is messed up. My neck is jacked. I have some deteriorating discs in my neck, so in my cervical spine, the little discs in between your vertebrae. Mine are degrading and they're squeezing down, and you have these little foraminal openings where your nerves come out, right? So your nerve comes down your spine through the spinal column and then comes out of these little holes. And where the disc is wearing down, the vertebrae is starting to compress, and it's compressing one of the nerves coming out. And it's compressing my radial nerve. The radial nerve comes out down your arm, kind of around your elbow, and then translates down the top of your forearm and then into these three fingers. So that's why I was having all those issues. And after that, I started quickly doing some research because at least I knew what it was. So I did some research on how to fix this, and basically I'm doing neck strengthening exercises. So like neck bridges where I lie down on my bench and I lift my body off, and I'm trying to strengthen the back of my neck right now for better support. I'm doing a lot of what they call nerve flossing, and I don't know how evidence-based nerve flossing is, but the nerve moves. When you move your body, nerves slide in back and forth when you're moving your arms or your legs. And these are basically movements to like move your arm around to get the nerve moving back and forth and to help it from getting pinched in there. I'm doing stretches, so I do a neck stretch. If I put my head down and to the right, that opens up this troubled area, and within maybe 30 seconds to a minute, when I get this tingling now, I can relieve it instantly. And it's not constant anymore, so it shows me that some of the stuff I'm doing is actually helping my neck. But things like if I do a bench press set or a shoulder press set, like right after that, boom, hands numb, tingling. Right now, in fact, my hand is starting to tingle a little bit. So that's helped a little bit. So at least I know what it is. It's management, really. If it gets severe enough, then it's surgery where they go in with like a little Dremel and they open up the hole where the nerve comes out, so the nerve has more room and it's not getting pinched. But right now, management seems to be helping it, but it's messed up. I also went for a hearing test, and the hearing test thing is weird. So she did my hearing test, and yeah, I have hearing loss in my right ear. And I think that I have hearing loss in both ears. As a musician, I've listened to way too loud music for way too many years. Lots of concerts, never wore earplugs at concerts, right? So a lot of stuff we all do, but it's caught up to me now at 50, 51. I've got some hearing loss, but especially in this year. And I think that really stems from this summer. I got my firearms license about a year ago and joined a gun range so I can just go and target shoot. And I really like target shooting, actually. Didn't think I would really like gun ownership. But long story short, my dad has a shotgun from my uncle and from my grandfather, and he didn't want them to leave the family. So he wanted me to get my firearms license, which I did. And then my mechanic that I go to all the time, that I'm very friendly with. I mentioned I got my firearms license because I knew he had his, and then he said, "Why don't you come to the gun range with me?" One thing led to another, and now I go target shooting. So I was shooting a handgun pistol one night, 9mm, and my ear protection hadn't sealed properly because I was wearing a hat and it didn't quite seal. And the first shot, like, that's it. Like it was actually like screaming pain. Like I felt pain in my ear from the sound, and I went deaf for about 2 days. So I plugged up my ear with like this waxy stuff to like, not earwax, but like these earplug things that like seal your ear shut. And I did that for basically 3 days because that's everything I researched. That was the best chance, is to just no more sound and let that ear rest. And my hearing did come back, but clearly I think that's part of why I have such bad tinnitus in this ear. I think it's permanent hearing loss. There's no way around that. And she recommended hearing aids. And while I'm sitting in the waiting room, the secretary's talking to an older gentleman who said they had to switch to this hearing place because the old hearing place closed. And the secretary said that's because they didn't sell enough hearing aids. And if you're not selling hearing aids, you're not doing business. So right there, I'm in the waiting room, and now I'm like, can I even trust these people? Like, she just admitted that they have to sell me a hearing aid in order for this to go on. And when you think about it, the hearing test is free. Of course it's free, because they want to sell you a hearing aid. So I did try some hearing aids for about 2 weeks. They gave me demo hearing aids. I wanted to see the difference. I take this very serious. I'm a musician, as I said, and I don't want any hearing loss. I didn't see enough difference. Like a hearing aid, you ready for this? Hearing aids, good ones, are around $7,000, and they last about 5 years. So you're talking between $5,000 and $7,000 investment every 5 years. And once you start, there's no stopping, right? Like, I'm not going to do that from 50. So I decided to hold off on that for now and just monitor my hearing. I'm very careful about my hearing now. If anything, this is a wake-up call to take better care of my hearing. So that is what it is. But that's two things that I thought were related that weren't. And then the hip thing, turns out it's not related either. These were all just coincidences. And the hip thing is my piriformis, which is this tiny muscle deep in under your glutes, right at your butt. It gets tight and it starts to pinch on the nerve. I believe it's the sciatic nerve that goes through there, but it starts to pinch on that nerve. And then the next thing you know, tingling down your leg, tingling in your foot. And I watched a video on how to test for this, whether it's sciatica or whether it's, piriformis causing this, and basically did a couple of pigeon stretches and opened up my hip, and problem went away. But it's coming back periodically. Like if I sit down too long, then my foot's numb for like 2 days. So yeah, welcome to getting old. And if I had to guess what happened to my neck, if I had to make a guess at it, I would say that probably, I don't know, 30 years of skateboarding. And my style of skateboarding was big drops. I loved like gaps, like jumping down stairs, jumping down big grass gaps. Like I wasn't super technical. I didn't do a lot of flipping of my board and stuff. I wasn't that style of skateboarder, but I was kind of fearless in that I would jump down anything. Man, I paid the price, right? A lot of drops, and you think like every time I hit, right, there's compression in my back, compression in my neck. And I'm guessing over all the years, like I've just beat up my neck and worn down my neck. I've had a lot of head injuries, and I've had a bunch of neck injuries too, where I felt like I've landed and I'm like, oh, my neck's sore. And I'm guessing that's probably what did it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. If they could pinpoint it and said, that's what did it, the skateboarding is what fucked your neck up, I'd be like, no problem. That's okay. I had 30 years of like touring as a professional, performing in front of people for years. That was my way to make a living, and I didn't have to do anything else but skateboarding. And like, how cool is that? I lived out my childhood dream. And if this is the cost, hey man, that's life. Life is full of cost and benefit. Do your analysis and decide, is something worth it or not worth it? And for me, it was worth it. But yeah, just another indicator that I'm getting older and my body is falling apart, and there's not a fucking thing I can do about it. I mean, there is basic kind of maintenance and mobility and stability exercises and stretching and icing. And I have an ultrasound machine that I use, but essentially you're just trying to slow down time and slow down the wear and decay. It is what it is. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at now. Sort of goes in line with the video I made on kind of being in pain all the time. This is just something else I deal with. And every time something new like this pops up, I get upset, and it's very stressful for me. But then as the weeks go on and you learn to deal with it and live with it and manage it, you go, okay, I guess this is just the new reality, and this is how things are now. And it is what it is. What can I do except for try and take care of it, and try and stay active and healthy as long as I can. But welcome to fucking getting older.